Good evening, race fans. Pirate here from Black Flag TV, and here we are for GT Champions World Cup Season 4, Round 5, and this is this is Group 4. Like coming to you live on many platforms. Obviously here on YouTube, obviously on Twitch as well, and Facebook Live for your viewing pleasure. 8:30 in the evening in the United States, but here in my humble abode in London, it is 1:30 in the morning. It is closer to my breakfast time than it is to your dinner time. But we have got an absolute doozy for you, absolute amazing race for you. It is in the Toyota GR Supra at the Autopolis International Racing Circuit. Not a big fan of Autopolis, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. It's not a track that I get on very well with, mostly because I spend most of my time on the grass. But this is pretty damn good. So let's see how we ended up where we are.
Welcome everybody to GT Champions. This is the end of round 4 at Daytona. That there is our winner, Apex Jakey from Division 1. Plenty of winners from the other divisions, but Daytona, fun, fast track, but now we're on our way to Japan. So onto the planes they go, all the way across the Pacific Ocean to get us all the way out here to Japan, to Autopolis. This is a crazy track. It's a tire eater, and it'll eat you up on some of these corners because they're a little off camber. With 19 corners to deal with, these drivers have a lot of work to do. It is definitely a road course, not for the faint of heart. Now, as we see, we are going to be driving the GT4 2019 Supra. This car is really well planted. It's a fun car to drive, got lots of power. It handles really well. This track's going to eat these tires up, so these drivers are definitely going to be paying more attention to their tire wear, and not so much with the fuel. I mean, there's plenty of fuel to be had, and maybe they'll save some time in the pits, but it's going to be a fun track out at Autopolis. It's going to be a night race, so at night, under the lights, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to be big shout out to Detailing Group, Digit Gaming, and Metropolis, our primary sponsors here at GT Champions. And of course, High Pre, who puts all of this together. Come on, give him a hand. That looks awesome. And of course, Pride at the Dragon, Tatiana taking care of our Division 2 streaming. So, should be a good race. Hope y'all have fun.
I just realised my mic wasn't on when I was talking to you guys. That is starting good for this week's race, based on the finishing position last week. Have a quick look at the. We'll go back over the podium actually, because my mic wasn't working, shall we say. Right, so yeah, podium last week. It was Average Viper, Igorski and Heathen. Average Viper dominated that race from start to finish. Brilliant race from him. Did lose first place briefly when Heathen went on a mad charge towards the end of the race. But that mad charge ultimately cost him second. Because he did once the fuel started running out, he lost out to Viper again. And then Igorski, who just comfortably sat in third for pretty much most of the race, swooped in to steal second place from him. So at the track, Autopolis, you all want to know about the track. There is the complicated track that is Autopolis Racecourse. Well, just done about 10 minutes, I'll probably hurry it up a little. But we've got 19 very difficult, very technical corners. And you'll see sort of, turn one, pretty relatively simple, turn two, flat out. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, very complex. And then 14, 15, 16, 17, another series of complex corners. Got a quick track guide for you, for your viewing pleasure. Very fast driver, good friend of mine, does a lot of track guides, and this was what he knocked together for us. We've got quite a few of these actually, so I'll always put one up. This was done in the daytime, not in the night time as the race will be, but it'll give you an idea of the sort of lap times you can get at Autopolis when you dial it in. So here we go. Got this longish straight at the beginning, and you pull over to this left-hand side. You're looking for that sort of 50 metre board is where you're really hitting the brakes. It's a relatively late apex there, but you want to use as much of the road as possible. Can be quite punishing this track if you get it wrong though. And you'll see here that this guy driving, Kevin, is a very, very fast driver. And uses so much of the racetrack, but maintains speed all the way through. Changing it right down before he gets on that power again. This is that really tricky section. Here you're kind of feathering your accelerator and brake just to kind of manage your way around that turn. And you've got to be careful on the exit. You don't overshoot the car on the grass. And very easy to do in a number of places on this track. Again, another really tricky corner here. But on the power again, you get away as quickly as you dare. There's that dreaded penalty line there, which I'm sure one or two drivers might be falling foul of today. Hopefully not too many. But you see here, there's no like little areas that are a little run off. If you go off the track, you are going miles off the track. Apart from maybe there when you get hit a wall instead. So it can punish you if you get this wrong. But you see this is dialed in under the bridge here. Last little tricky succession of corners here. Again, using all of that road as much as you dare. Nice and tight here. This is key here actually. Nice and tight here because you want to be able to get on the power as early as possible from this, which is flat out. This was his lap time. It was a 1:52.8. Very, very quick lap time. I mean, obviously, you wouldn't expect, bearing in mind that it's going to be in the dark, that anybody would be chucking in the times like that 152. And 152 is a sort of alien time. It's in the dark, so it's going to be a bit slower. I imagine race pace here is going to be somewhere in the region of probably the 156, 157 maybe, particularly as people start fuel saving. So quick little rundown. We've got about 10 minutes to go, so no super rush. Quick little rundown of runners and riders in the group today. Who is where? So we've got Toolshed, Viper, Scarlet, Dry Bones, Malone, Gorski, Devlin, Heathen, Stangman, Acer Works, Quences, Captain Jack, OK Jake, Remy, Chip Reese. Was expected to see Benjo as well, but he's not in the room yet. Maybe he's going to be a very late arrival to the party. To bring up the quali group again, so you can have a good look. There you go. There's the so basically there's the rules as well. So point distribution, 18 points for first place, all the way down to 1 point for 15th. Any incident's got to be reported within 24 hours. So you've got to use racing soft and racing medium. Very simple. You can only pit in the pit window, which runs from essentially 5 minutes either side of the halfway point. This is a 90-minute race. Fuel consumption times 2. You're going to have to look after your fuel, and you're going to have to look after your tyres, because you've only got that 10-minute window in the middle of the race to get any fuel or tyres on board. You can obviously pit for repairs because you have got full damage on, and I imagine we'll see 1 or 2 people. Because it's dark and because it's such a tricky circuit, I think we might see 1 or 2 people disappearing off the road into, well, possibly oblivion, because some of the runoff areas are very, very long, and if you disappear off to the right on a left-hand turn, you could find yourself some way off the track. But it looks like we've got, of the 15 expected runners, I can see 14 currently in the group. So that's always a good start. It's good to have a full lobby. It's so much more fun when there's a full lobby. Yeah, so that's it really. Quick rundown on the season. So, this is round number 5 at Autopolis in GT4 Supra. We've already been at qualifying and was at Blue Moon Infield A and Brands Hatch. Then we ran a Deep Forest in the Sylvia Great Car. Mount Panorama in the Evo. Who doesn't love a bit of Mount Panorama in an Evo, eh? That is a staple. Goodwood in that Porsche Cayman. And last week, of course, Daytona Infield in that phenomenal AMG. Then next week, obviously, we're off to Barcelona. I love that track. One of my favourite tracks in the BMW M3. Followed by Trial Mountain in the McGann Trophy, which on GT7 is an amazing car. Watkins Glen follows that in the GT LM18 RC, followed by High Speed Ring in the G7. That is just going to be out and out crazy oval racing. That, and we finish up on November the 12th in Fuji with the BRZ GT300. Now this is a lot of not that many European tracks in there, to be fair. Maybe more will come soon. So I think should we go and have a look at the track and see what people are doing? I think that sounds like a plan, don't you? Get myself ticked in first, just so we don't. Oh, it would help. I can't tick in because I've got the wrong car. There we go. I've got the right car now. Tick in quickly and then tick back out again because I'm not going to race tonight. Let's get out there and have a little looky-see. How is everyone this evening? All good? Hey, Armin, good to see you, buddy. Good to see I'm not the only one awake at this godforsaken hour of the morning. I should probably remove that screen so you can see what I can see. That'd be useful, wouldn't it? Again, apologies for the disgusting production values. I really need to work on these. I'm getting there. I am getting there. Apologies, I'm just sorting some bits and pieces out, which are not in the right places. Let's try that. Sorry guys, I thought I had everything organised properly, cleared up. Boomshenka. Right, we're cooking with gas. Okie dokie. Right, so there he is on track. He's going to be your pulsar DSR Devlin from Belgium, representing the ICE racing team. From which is Benjo's group. Benjo is the only driver on the list I haven't seen yet. So hopefully we do see him, but he's representing the ICE racing team. There we go. There is OGR Toolshed from the OGR racing team. He is third on the grid today. Remy 22. Remy B30 for the grid is a privateer. And Scarlett, Devlin's compatriot and teammate, also from Belgium, in representing the isolation group. Scarlett will be way down the order. Scarlett is currently top of the leaderboard actually. So only 50. He's 8 points in it. 59 points to Igorski's 51. So really close. Average Viper winner last week at Daytona won't be winning many races if he's scraping the wall like that though. Good performance from him last week. Knocks him up to 4th in the standings. Racing for High Prix. Who else is out on track? Igorski, there he is. There's Igorski. Igorski currently 2nd in the championship, of course, from the RWB Racing team. I suppose now would be a good time to, before the race starts, to shout out to our sponsors. Sponsored by, obviously, Detailing Group, who are the main sponsors. And we're also sponsored by Metropolis.com, Digit Gaming, Pride of the Dragon. And this wouldn't be possible without the very hard work behind the scenes of RWB and High Prix. So that's a bit of housekeeping out of the way. So we've basically got 90 minutes of pedal to the metal, and there was the 2-minute warning. So for those of you who don't know how this works, it's quite simple really. The cars will all go off the grid on lap number 1, and they will, while they're moving around the grid, they will line themselves up into the correct positions. So go around them essentially at about 75 kilometres an hour. They will go around the track, get themselves in the correct order for the rolling start, which will be headed up by Devlin, being that he is on pole today. And so he will lead them out. They have a line just before the start line where they slow to 55k. And then at some point between there and the start line, Devlin will shoot off on their own. Hopefully everyone will follow him, and we'll have some great racing. Be interesting to see what strategies. And there's the two schools of thought here, is that you go out early doors on the soft tyres, build yourself up a little head of steam, keeping a good pace, knowing they're going to wear out, because this track's very abrasive, very, very abrasive on the tyres. So you can go out on those soft tyres knowing you're going to take chunks out of them, and then get into the pits when that window opens, and switch out for those medium tyres, and then go a bit longer in the end, not quite necessarily at the same kind of pace. For me, I think the best strategy would be to start on the medium tyres. Give yourself the opportunity to go a little bit deeper into the pit window. If you can get towards the end of the pit window before you're going in, it gives you less time to run on those soft tyres, and potentially gives you a bit of fuel in the tank and a bit of tyre wear left for the last couple of laps, should you have the opportunity to push a little bit and maybe nick a place or two. We saw last week at Daytona that absolutely worked for Igorski. Plodded around quite comfortably in third place, and then the massive push from Heathen to try and take the position from Viper didn't pay off for him, and he lost second place. And to be fair, he was lucky actually, because he would have lost third place as well. I will do. Thank you for your wishes. So here we go. It's going to be difficult to see. I might have to do a few more onboard car shots this time out, to be fair, because it's dark. You can't see anything. So here we go. They're all going to set off, and of course we have to do this because we don't get that view. So they're all going to get lined up in the right places, get where they need to be. Tell you what though, these liveries under these lights, some of them look awesome. Very, very good. So doesn't look like anyone does it. There's Cruentus there, also from the Ice Racing Group. Scarlet and Cruentus. Everyone's sort of moving into where they need to be. They've got to keep the speed down. There's no need to go rushing here. I've raced with him as well. I've raced with Devlin and with Scarlet. Both good drivers, yeah, and nice people as well. Yeah, I've raced with them quite a lot. I think Scarlet in particular is very, very skilled. There's Heathen. He was second last time out. Sorry, third last time out. Run out of fuel at the end, was saved from losing third purely by the countdown clock running out. Right, should we get some information up there to do that? Display all, boom. I appear to be missing something. Why am I missing something? My timer's not coming up on the screen for some reason. Let's try again. I don't like it when things don't work. I'm going to fiddle around while I'm doing this. I think I found the problem. Maybe not. Don't know what the problem is. or how to solve it. But we are ready to start. I will try and solve it while the race is going on. Have to work on the fly, of course. So here we go. Everyone's in the correct order, all ready to go. We will go with the leader as he starts the race. So here we go. 90 minutes of racing starts now, and they are away. Everyone away cleanly. Devlin, car number 666, trying to get a little bit of a jump on his opponents there. Yeah, absolutely crucial. Obviously, I think it's really dependent on what tyres you're running as well. If you're running the harder compound, even more pressure to get the heat into those tyres quickly, because it can take a bit of time to get those going. So Devlin already pulls out a 1 second lead over Remy, and he is 1.4 already clear of Captain Jack. Captain Jack under a little bit of pressure from OK Jake. Is OK Jake able to do anything and get around him? Certainly doesn't look like it at this stage. I think he might just be happy to sit in behind. Because it's a nighttime race, it's going to be difficult to spot those braking points. So really, really key to have kind of have it in your muscle memory more than anything else, and be aware that as the tyres change and as your car evolves, and the fuel goes down, those brake points will change throughout the track. And we see Dry Bones Malone just looking at the back of OK Jake, possibly looking at making an overtake. Doesn't make it stick that time. There's not many places to make big overtakes here. Just the reason being, it's quite a complicated little track, and some of these corners are very, very complex. So getting offline is not the ideal solution. Dry Bones Malone just tucking in behind OK Jake, hoping for maybe a mistake, but so far very, very clean. No one touching, and certainly no one off the track at this stage. This is, of course, the first racing lap. Chip Reese in 6th place. Again, very close to each other, half a second in it at the moment. Stangman in 7th. Scarlett there in 8th place. ISO Racing team. Again, look at them in a procession at the moment. So Devlin across the line starts the second racing lap, essentially lap 3. Toolshed in 9th place. Good run on Scarlett there. Is he able, with the slipstream, to make a move into turn 1? Great shot that as well in the night. To be fair, I thought we'd have pretty poor vision, but it's looking not bad actually with the lights on those cars. There is Wox 159 in 10th. Gets a good run there. Can't make a move on Toolshed at this stage. Princess in 11th place. Again, look. I mean, the gaps are half a second. There's Viper, winner last time out. Currently up in 11th place, just ahead of. In fact, look, there's 1, 2, 3 from last week. Viper, which has changed now. Stagman goes off the track. All changed there then. Wox is dropping down the order as well. Does get back ahead of Viper. So we've got Viper, Igorski, Heathen. They were the top 3 last week. There's Stagman, who we just seen going off the track. And Scarlett, who's also gone off the track, way back in 13th place, as he does make that overtake on Stagman. So Devlin at the moment out in front. He's built up a gap now, 1.8 seconds. Yeah, that's basically it. It's the 2 hairpins and that main straight. Possibly the back straight as well. So here, coming into this turn, before you get to this turn, if you can get a good run out of the hairpin, you might be able to make an overtake there. But there is Devlin pulling away in the lead, 2 seconds now. He's got to be very careful not to overcook it here and push too hard. It's really, really important that. Sorry, apologies. I'm trying to. Oh, there we go. Problem solved. Yeah, it's really important to make sure that you are managing the tyre wear and managing your fuel, even at this early stage. Because there's always a danger if you go out hell for leather and really push early on, that you find it kind of messes with your strategy a little bit, and you're not able to recover that fuel you need and the grip in those tyres before the pit window. So it can pay to just just back off a little bit. Don't be afraid to lose a place. I mean, if you can stick with the car, you can hold the place, great. But my advice, and for what it's worth, being a slow driver, but my advice would be, you know, don't fight too hard to keep a place at this stage of the race. It's a long race. You know, it's 90 laps, 90 minutes, which is going to be about 46 laps. Good morning, Jason. How are you doing? Good to see you. You didn't make it to bed, and you're joining me at this ungodly hour of the day. All very settled at the moment. Quite like a procession. The only overtakes really so far have been overtaking cars off the track. But Devlin now 3.5 seconds clear, going way out in front. Remy 7.6 up from Captain Jack. So Captain Jack is 7 seconds back in third place at the moment. So the front two, very similar to last week at Daytona, disappearing off up into the distance. Dry Bones Malone is tucked in behind in fourth place, with Toolshed just behind him as they round this final succession of tricky corners here on Autopolis to finish lap 4. The screech of those times. I might turn that down a little bit actually, so you can hear me a bit better. My dulcet tones. So there is Toolshed in that pink car, tucked in behind Dry Bones Malone. Not quite close enough for me to make an overtake there, but they've already pulled out a gap. 3.1 on Scully. He's made his way back up into 6th place. He was at one stage 13th on this racetrack, but back up into 6th, going very well, and he is the current championship leader. That's 6 places he's made up, which is absolutely awesome. Now, it's obviously key for him. He didn't have a great finish last week, so it's key for him this week to pick up some more points, just to open up that gap at the top of the leaderboard. Current fastest lap is a 55.4. A little bit quicker than I expected it to be, actually. We know with the track guide I showed you earlier, that lap was a 52. It was in the daytime, and it was being driven by a racing alien. You watched the stream from the Super Formula earlier. Yeah, it was a pretty darn good race actually. So we've got Scarlett up 6 places. Great movement from him. Walks in 7th place, 1.1 seconds behind. His fastest lap so far to 1:58.9. So very much settled. But it looks like Igorski behind, tucked in really tight, looking for a move there. A little to rub in his racing. Igorski makes that move up into 7th place. Wax can do nothing but tuck in behind. And Heathen now, we know how quick Heathen is. We saw how quick he was at Daytona. Tucked in behind Wax as well, maybe looking to make a similar move and follow Igorski through. So the front three from last week, 2nd and 3rd, already making their eye up through the field. Average Viper still back in 11th place. He's 3 seconds off the back of OK Jake, who's trying desperately to tack on the back of the battle. Currently for essentially 6th place. Average Viper, he's in 11th, already 10 seconds clear. Stagman not having a great race, he's 10 seconds back in 12th place. We saw him going off the track on lap 3, I think it was. It must be lap 3, yeah. Cruentes in 13th place, just a second behind him. Chip Reese bringing up the rear, 14.7 seconds back. Not yet managed to sub 2 minutes this lap here around Autopolis, but that's a tricky thing to do. And he's some way off at the back at the moment, to be fair. These three are really kind of dropping off from the rest of the field. We go back up the field, we look at Devlin. He's, excuse me, I want to drink my coffee before it gets cold. Yeah, he does. He definitely needs those points, but it'd be interesting to sort of see what their strategies are come pit window time. But Devlin at the moment is the man of the hour. The Devlin, the Belgian, is 4.7 seconds clear, and chucking in some very solid lap times. Mid to late 55s is a very, very good pace, particularly this early on. Surprisingly faster than I expected. I called it a sort of 56, 57, 58 kind of lap in the dark. with fuel and tyre saving. But at the moment, Devlin chucking in regular 55, mid-55s, and some way faster than Remy. Remy cannot match that pace. 56.1, his fastest lap at the moment. He is 5.4 seconds back, but himself has a 12.5 second gap now, which is opening all the time on Captain Jack. Captain Jack, the Brits, obviously go Brits, who you want the Brits to do well, currently sitting in third, has done a 1:58.6, but just looks like he's dropped off the pace a bit. Now, he is vulnerable. He's got some way up the racetrack to Remy. So Remy a little bit, can relax a little bit at the moment, because Captain Jack behind him, he's got Dry Bones Malone bearing down on him. He's under a second behind. Igorski's made his way up through the field. He's got past Scarlett. He's up into 5th place. Scarlett there in 6th place. Just, 7/10 behind that battle. So the battle for third, as they start to close on Captain Jack, is all the way back to Scarlett in 6th place at the moment. If we go on board with Scarlett, we can see that battle playing out just ahead. So you can see Captain Jack there in third, Dry Bones Malone coming up behind him, Igorski behind him, and it's such a difficult. I will have a look in a minute and see what people are doing in terms of fuel. Obviously, I can't tell you a lot because I don't want to give away any strategies at this stage. But I will have a little looky-see. So, yeah, because it's so difficult to overtake here, we say that as Igorski makes a great overtake, and it's in, as we said, in the hairpin, the 2 hairpins being the best overtaking place. He makes that move into the hairpin and past Dry Bones Malone. Can he do a better job of getting past Captain Jack up into third? Do we see Igorski again run a race early doors from third place? Certainly on the charge at the moment, and that's not what them. We're looking at it from Scarlett's car, and Scarlett does not want to be seeing that. He does not want to see Igorski, who is currently second, I believe, in the championship, ahead of him, particularly when he needs those points. But here we go into these final couple of corners, and can Scarlett get on it? Well, he's certainly really close to the back of Dry Bones Malone. Better exit out of the corner. Can he, with the slipstream, pull out and make a move before they get to turn 1? He's not tucked in tight enough to make that move. He needs to be tucked right under that rear wing to get any benefit, but he's not. So maybe we don't. Or is he making a move? He is trying to make a move. And Captain Jack spins. There's a spin from Captain Jack, and there we go. All changed. Remy's still in second. So Igorski now up into 4th place because Scarlett. He doesn't hold it, but he does. They are side by side. Of course, he does hold him off, does stay in third. But Scarlett makes a move all the way through, past Dry Bones Malone, past the spinning Captain Jack, who finds himself now back in 7th place, and almost as well past Igorski, up into 3rd place. So, all change. Devlin's still out in front, some way out. Yeah, I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to show you, buddy. I have to keep it a secret until the pit window, just purely for strategic purposes for the drivers, so they don't get an undue benefit over their rivals. But I'm with you. I love to see that sort of thing, and it's see how it plays out. But so there we go. So Devlin out in front. He's what, 6 seconds clear at the moment. Remy not far behind him. It's 6 seconds, but as we know, over 45 laps, 6 seconds is nothing. And depending on how these guys are managing their fuel and managing their tyres, it could all change very, very quickly. But Devlin's still the fastest man out there with a 1:55.4. He set that on lap 3 and has settled into a nice little rhythm, just dropping his pace a little bit now as he settles into the race, just conserving fuel and certainly trying to conserve those tyres. Igorski, as we know, up into 3rd place. He and Scarlett charging through the field like a hot knife through cold. Well, like a hot knife through melted butter would be the best way of putting it, wouldn't it? Absolutely scything their way through into that top 4. And that gap now, Dry Bones Malone starting to get dropped away from the front runners now in 5th place. Ethan, quickest man, fastest lap last week, up to 6th place. trying to find a way around Dry Bones Malone. So Dry Bones Malone not holding these guys up very well. His fastest lap is a 58.3. Heathen, they're chucking in a 57.3. So a second difference in fastest laps. Is Heathen able to find a way around? They've got this hairpin here. Wasn't a way into this hairpin. Is there an opportunity into the next one? Captain Jack, there he is. We saw he was in third. Had that spin coming out of turn 1. And finds himself now back 2 seconds behind Heathen. I forgot who I was talking about then. So Heathen on the back of Dry Bones Malone. They come up to he makes the move up the inside. Can he make it stick? Those brakes absolutely lighting up the night sky here in Japan. He can't make the move stick, and Dry Bones Malone does hold on for another day. But there may be an opportunity in the start-finish straight as they come round. It's American versus American battling each other here. But it's very clean and very fair racing. Heathen looking up the inside again, but Dry Bones Malone will have the inside line on the next corner. Very tricky place to overtake. And Heathen a little bit wide, and Captain Jack just starting to tack on the back now. Able to use the fact that these two are battling to try and make a move. So Heathen really close to the back of Dry Bones Malone. Is there an overtake on as they go to complete lap 9? Start lap 10 here at Autopolis. And he's very, very close to the back. Under half a second. Got that slipstream. He's tucked in. He's got to tuck in. You've got to tuck in tighter under that wing. You really do. If you want to benefit from the slipstream, you've got to hide your car in the shadow of the car in front. Otherwise, you're giving up valuable, not only valuable fuel-saving opportunity, but valuable overtaking opportunity. But he has got a run on him now as they come out of turn 1. He's going to have the inside line going into turn 2. Can he hold it? Dry Bones Malone, nothing he could do to stop him. The inside line had been taken by Heathen, and Heathen very cleverly switches across the track to prevent Dry Bones Malone coming back at him. So he is now up into 5th place. Still no change out in front. DSR Devlin still 6 to 7 seconds clear. Still throwing in very, very solid lap times. Remy, looks like Remy's just also settling in. Again, look, very, very solid, very similar, very consistent in their lap times. At this stage, it's foolish to push. You've got to look after your tyres. You've got to look after your fuel a bit. You know, it's a long, long race. The pit window's still not going to be open for some time. We're only 20 minutes in. It's going to be 20 minutes again before we start. Before the pit window opens, you can get in there and do anything about it. So Igorski, 16 seconds back. He hasn't really making any inroads into those front two. Again, second fastest man out there, 156.5. Very, very good lap, that last lap. Scarlett tried to stick with him, but already 1.6 seconds back. So are we going to see a repeat of last week where Igorski gets himself up into 3rd and then just plays a blinder from there, just literally just sits in, lets it all happen, sticks to his game plan, nice and clean, nice and fair, putting the pace in, looking after the tyres, looking after the fuel, and then maybe, just maybe, getting a sneaky little opportunity towards the end of the race because the guys out in front are pushing that little bit too hard. Heathen trying to close up on the back of Scarlett. Is he able to go that extra distance this week? Can he make up more places? He was 3rd last week, remember, having been 2nd for most of the race and been the fastest man on the track. He had the fastest lap in the bag, and he had that in the bag early on as well, and no one really challenged it either. But he's now just trying to close that gap on Scarlett up to 4th place. So some movers here. So we've had quite some movers here. Igorski, big mover. Scarlett, big mover. Heathen, big mover. Viper moved a few, but not showing the blistering pace that we saw from him last week, where he dominated at Daytona. He's 4.8 seconds behind Dulce at the moment, who's trying to find some way to get around Captain Jack. Captain Jack, we saw spin coming through turn 1 and losing 3rd place to eventually Igorski. But Captain Jack again stays ahead. Toolshed looking for the switcheroo. Doesn't work out for him. Has to tuck in behind again, waiting for another opportunity. But at the moment, Toolshed is looking quick. Captain Jack has got to find a way to keep him at bay. There is a little bit of damage to Toolshed, and we see Toolshed, it looks to me like he is off the track. And that's why it's so easy to do that. Average Viper comes through, up into 8th place. Toolshed just pushing to find a way around Captain Jack. He's pushed a little bit too hard. Car off the track, and he has to just get in now, just settle back down and run his race. But he's got Average Viper past him now. He's also going to have, if Wox can pick up the pace. Now Wox was an early front runner and dropped through the order like a stone. He's currently running in 10th, 1.6 seconds behind Toolshed, as we start lap 12. 23 minutes in. So what else? I said 45 laps, didn't I? So past the 20-minute mark, we're just 22, 44. I think my math actually might be there or thereabouts today. And those who know me well enough know that that's not always the case. Quintet here, he's in 11th place. Just 1 second behind Wox at the moment. But no real challenge from Stagman behind him. He's 3.3 seconds ahead of Stagman, the Canadian. He is 6.7 seconds ahead of OK Jake from the United States. And Chip Reese at the back of the pack, 35 seconds back, also from the United States. But sticking in there and having a go, which is, that for me, is the thing that's most credit-worthy. Is, you know, I'm one of those guys that races around at the back. For the most part, it's probably because the people I choose to race with are just crazy fast. You think 47 to 48 laps? I'm not sure, Jason. We're thinking about the pit window as well. I'm not sure they'll get that far. I think it depends on pace after the pit window. I think the pace ramps up maybe. But yes, as I was saying, I'm used to racing around at the back, and for me, you know, when you see people at the back, it can be soul destroying. But you know, the thing is to stick it out and stay there, because if you stick it out, you never know what can happen in front of you. And, you know, every lap you do is a bit more experience and makes you a little bit faster. Isn't that right, Jason? Devlin, we're watching him at the moment. He is 6.8 seconds clear of Remy. They've settled into a little bit of a pattern now. Devlin, you know, we talked about ramping it up early on and going hell for leather, and that's exactly what he did. But he's doing the right thing now and starting to rein in those lap times, just scrubbing off some of that aggression through the corners and the use of fuel, just to rein it in, just to get that fuel under control, to get the tyre wear under control, because he's still got to run 15 more minutes. So the pit window will open, I think, I would imagine somewhere around lap 21, 22. I think we'll hit that 40-minute mark. And then there'll be a 10-minute pit window. So then you'll see about 5 laps in that pit window. And the ideal is you want to pit as late in that window as you possibly can. You've got to think about your track position. You've got to think about where you might come out and things like that as well. But you want to pit as late in the window as you can, because you want to give yourself a bigger run at the end. You might be able to put on a little bit less fuel if you saved it well enough. But the key is to be able to keep your tyres in that zone for the second half. So we've watched Devlin complete lap 13, start lap 14. There is Remy behind. The gap is opening up a little bit. Devlin just put in a 56.9. Maybe he's starting to ramp that pace up a bit. Remy, similar pace at the moment, 57, mid 57s, comfortably. But there's Igorski. I think Igorski is actually going to be the man to watch today. He made his way, him and Scarlett have made their way through the order very, very quickly, and got themselves up into very decent positions. Remember, these two are fighting it out for the championship. These are two of the guys at the top of the championship at the moment that are really going to be looking to kind of consolidate their position there, just to open up a bit of a gap, give themselves a bit more of an opportunity. Scarlett currently sitting on 59 points. 8 points ahead of Vigorski. Now, obviously, if Vigorski finishes ahead, it will close the gap a little bit, but they're only going to close it by 1 point if they finish as they are. But what Scarlett would like to do, I think more than anything, is to get past him so he can open that gap out. But Devlin at the moment, Devlin's in 7th in the championship, 32 points, is the man in the lead. Remy in 2nd place, way down, privateer Remy, way down in 13th place in the championship, and would desperately love to get some points and get himself up the order. As I said, I've got Gorski there, 3rd in the championship with Scarlett, 3.9 seconds back, who is currently the leader. And this is the midway point. This is race number 5 of this 10 race series. So really important at this stage to be there or thereabouts. 3rd in the championship, where is he? There he is, Toolshed, in 7th place at the moment. Couldn't find his way around Captain Jack. 1.5 seconds behind him at the moment. He's got Wox 2.8 behind him. Wox, I don't see why you are. He's 15th in the championship at the moment. Dry Bones Malone, well, he is, I don't know where he is. I don't know what, he might have a different name. Let's assume that he's, I don't know. I don't know who he is. Obviously, we're looking at their nicknames, not their actual names. So they've got different names on the standing sheet. So I can't remember all of them. I'm sure I'll start remembering them over time. There's Cruentes. Cruentes currently running 10th in the championship. Currently 8th on the racetrack. Heathen way down the order at the moment, down in 10th. So he's had big problems. Obviously, he's had to pit to repair some damage because he's way down now. 2nd behind Stagman, when Heathen was showing some really good pace. Him and Average Viper, opposite positions they were last week, right at the tail end of the pack as well. But Heathen is half a second up from Average Viper. Average Viper from Great Britain. I don't know how these guys are racing at this time of the morning, because all I've got to do is sit here, drink coffee, and talk rubbish for 2 hours. These guys have got put a shift in, a real shift, driving. So credit to everyone out there, because anybody that races for this length of time to these standards. So we look at Heathen losing out to Average Viper, thought he was going to try and make a move to get that place back, but Average Viper gets ahead, and Heathen has to slot in behind him again, and he must be getting sick of the sight of the back of Average Viper's car. He had to look at it for, I can't even remember how many laps it was, 40 odd laps at Daytona last week, and now he's got to stare at it again. So he's decided he wants Average Viper to look at the back of his car, and he does try to make the move up into the hairpin. Does Average Viper get away? Well, at the moment, Average Viper just holding off that charge. Does that play into Wox behind? Well, no, because he's 14 seconds back, so he's not going to be getting involved in this battle anytime soon. But these two racing like this, what effect is it going to have on their fuel and tyres? Is it going to take a little bit more out than they expect? And then come the second half of the race, they're struggling a little bit because they've had to pit too early. So let's work our way from the back through the order. There is Chip Reese already under blue flags. That'll be Devlin coming up behind him. Devlin fastest man on the racetrack at the moment. 39 seconds up the road. There's OK Jake. Just as we see him, OK Jake stopped because at some point he was facing in the wrong direction. You've got to face that way if you want to get around this racetrack, Jake. Ahead of him, 19 seconds up the road. So the guys in the back are opening right out. There is Wox from Australia, just completing lap 16. And then 12 seconds up the road, Heathen, who it looks like has dropped off a lot, because Cruentes has already been overtaken now by Average Viper, but taken the place back again. So this battle is no longer just Average Viper and Heathen. It's Cruentes, Average Viper and Heathen all going at it. We've got Cruentes from the United Kingdom, Average Viper from the United Kingdom, and Heathen from the United States, battling it out. Cruentes and Viper side by side. Viper just getting the upper hand into that left-hander and stays ahead. They come up to the hairpin. This is a very, very solid overtaking spot. Is Cruentes able to make a move on him into... He doesn't make that move. Does Heathen make a move on him? No. So that the race has changed a little bit here. Average Viper in 9th place, Correntes in 10th. Heathen can't follow Average Viper through and remains in 11th place. Moving up the order 4 seconds up the road, there is Stagman from Canada, trying to close that gap on the early front runner, Captain Jack. And Captain Jack is now passed by Stagman. He makes a mistake, and Stagman is through up into 7th place. Captain Jack now 3 seconds back, and that's going to throw him right into the middle of this battle between Viper, Correntes, and Heathen. Could he get swallowed up by these faster cars behind him? Or can he pull away? What he needs to do is he needs to pull away. He does not want to get caught up in this battle. He's already had a few little slips and slops in this race, and he doesn't want to have any more fighting with those guys behind. Because at the moment, Viper, Correntes, and Heathen are looking very racy, and they're looking to take some scalps. So Toolshed currently sitting in 6th place. He is 1.9 seconds ahead of Stagman, who benefited from... So Average Viper is through up into 8th place. He's made the move on Captain Jack. Heathen has made the move on Correntes up into 10th, and he is now just trying to get around Captain Jack. So I stick with this battle, and then when I go away, something happens. It's like they're waiting for me to go away so they can go racing again. So Captain Jack getting swallowed up, and just what he didn't want to happen, getting swallowed up by these fast cars around him. Very, very laggy there. Bit awful, really, isn't it, PD? Sort yourselves out. Is Heathen able to make the move? He's on the inside. It does touch the grass a bit there. That could have gone horribly wrong. Could have gone flying off the racetrack into a wall, into a big ball of flames. But Captain Jack just holding Heathen off. We will come back to this battle because it's certainly not over. Correntes makes the move on Heathen. Heathen can't attack Captain Jack while he's trying so hard to defend from Correntes. And Correntes makes that move up into 10th again, but not at this stage able to pull away. Further up the road, no change to the top 5. Dry Bones Malone is 18 seconds back from Scarlet. Scarlet dropping off the back of Igorski now. Not able to keep that pressure on. He's now 7.5 seconds off the back of Igorski, who is up in 3rd place. Now he is 9.5 seconds. That gap has closed quite significantly to the back of Remy. So that early pace from Devlin, that early pace from Remy, starting just to slow up now. We can see that Remy did a 59.3 there, Devlin with a 59.1. So that early pace when they went charging off, just starting to drop off a bit. And that's letting Igorski climb all over the back of them, or certainly get closer to climbing all over the back of them, which is something I'm looking forward to seeing. Can he make his way through the order? Scarlet does not want to see him pull away. While he's only 1 place ahead, the damage is not huge, but there are 5 races remaining after this in this season. Very, very easy to make up an 8-point deficit, especially if you're finishing ahead of your rival. So that is a battle to look out for. How about this one? Stagman in 7th. Average Viper in 8th now. Heathen in 9th. Correntes in 10th. Captain Jack absolutely plummeting through the order. Heading back towards Wax in 12th place. The gap is 5.1 seconds already. Is it because Captain Jack has been looking after fuel and tyres too much? Maybe not. The thing here, I mean, fuel isn't really a huge issue around here. You can pretty much go flat out for most of your stint with the fuel you have on board. It's worth saving some, so you can spend less time in the pits, of course. But you don't have to save it as much as you do have to look after your tyres. Big slide from Heathen, but he does manage to save that car and keep it on the road. Championship leader, race leader, should we say. Devlin, there he is. Gap is still between 6 and 7 seconds. He constantly keeps it there. Good, very good race management from Devlin. You know, I've raced this guy. He's a good racer, good solid racer, and can be really quick. Currently 7 seconds ahead of Remy. Igorski, that gap is down to 7 seconds. Yellow flag ahead. I'm assuming that is OK Jake. OK Jake, who's being lapped, having a bit of a problem. So he's now behind Chip Reese. Now, Chip Reese at one stage was some 30 seconds back. So OK Jake clearly having some problems out there today. Getting lapped. And he needs to get out of the way by Remy. I had a long conversation actually with my group, Black Flag. We've talked a lot extensively about how to manage blue flags, because we're of the view, if you're at the back of the pack, of course you're going to encounter blue flags and you can have people coming around you, but you're in your own race at the back as well. We see here, OK Jake, 3 seconds behind Chip Reese. That battle's not over for him. He can still get involved there. Chip Reese can certainly close up on Watts and give a battle there. So how much you compromise your own race in order to let the guys through? And now we're firmly of the belief that it's all about thinking ahead. You get the blue flags miles before you need to. You've got a radar which shows you where all the other cars are. And equally, the guy behind he's clearly much faster, because he's going to be in the top end of the race. So they can look at the racetrack and think about where's the safest place to overtake. Now, for you as the driver being overtaken, of course you can pull off the racing line, but you shouldn't have to do that at the compromise of your race. And certainly not pulling off the track, as some people do. They actually pull off the track completely. I think it's about management on both sides, and I think the faster guy needs to be aware that the slower guy probably doesn't have the same reactions that he does. I think their Remy is indicating which way he wanted Chip Reese to go, but obviously going through there, that's given an opportunity for I forgot who it was. For OK Jake, just to close up a little bit on the back of Chip there. So Devlin is still out in front. There's 8.7 seconds where Remy got held up with those blue flags. Maybe a bit more planning as Chip Reese very, very deep into that corner. Is that going to put him under some pressure from OK Jake? Well, OK Jake himself goes even deeper, and Chip Reese survives. So Devlin in first place instead of Remy in second. 5 seconds now. Igorski is just behind them. Now, Igorski is really, really ramping it up now, as we are about to hit the pit window coming up. So let's have a little look at what people are going to do. Let's give you a little shifty at the current situation. So here we go. Devlin out in front on those soft tyres. He can certainly hang them out there for a little bit longer. It does explain why Devlin and Remy had that pace out in front with those soft tyres, because the pit window is now open. And Remy jumps in very, very early. He wants to be rid of those medium tyres. Fuel's not really a problem. He can absolutely fill this up and go to the end of this race without any worries at all. There we go, Remy's in. At his pace, I think that's not a bad shout, actually. He was pretty quick on the medium tyres. On the soft tyres. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's right. He had more on the tyres, but he was really quick on those soft tyres. Can he turn out similar times on the mediums is the thing. Igorski, for me, he's hardly taking anything out of those mediums, but we know that how far those softs can go. Is he prepared to jump early to see what happens? Doesn't have to worry about fuel. He can fuel to the end and not have to worry at all. But Scarlet up into third now with Remy pitting. Remy comes back out in seventh. He's got that dreaded 3-second pit lane penalty. Disaster. That's not what you want to see when you go into when you went into the pits. The guy behind you on the racetrack, who's now disappeared off up the road, wasn't even that far behind you. So Remy got a big penalty to serve. That's going to let Average Viper through. It's going to let Heathen through. Corinthians, I think, who's just dropped off that battle now, is not going to be close enough to capitalise. But Average Viper and Heathen, really close racing last week. Really close racing from these two again. And they're going to just breeze past Remy when he slows down. So Average Viper through, Heathen through. Did Remy pull off the racing line? Oh, he's not actually slowing down yet. So Average Viper actually gets through with an overtake. Doesn't even wait for the line there. But so he goes through. So here we go, out in front. No sign of Devlin pitting at this stage. He's going through to lap 22. I think the pit window, I said lap 21, didn't I? And opening in the lap 20. I was close. So Devlin stays out for another. He's probably got... He could hang this out there till the end of the pit window, to be fair. There's certainly another 2 or 3 laps easily in those tyres, even with pushing. Devlin disconnects. That was a big disconnection. That has promoted Igorski to the lead of this race. Absolutely devastating for Devlin. Devastating. He had a problem. I think he had a problem last week as well where he disconnected. So it's still showing his fastest lap. But a big disconnection from him, and it's messed up my screen now. I'm going to have to jump out and jump back in, aren't I? So there we go. So Igorski now in the lead. Dry Bones Malone up into second. Where is Scarlet? He's right at the back of the pack. What problem did Scarlet have to send him all the way down the back of the pack? While we were watching those other guys going their battle, Scarlet has found himself all the way down in 13th place. I want to watch the replay and find out what happened there, because that is so devastating for both Belgians. One disconnect from the race in dramatic fashion from the lead of this race, and he was looking comfortable for a win here. Disconnects, and Scarlet all the way down the bottom. Has there been some problem in Belgium that we need to know about? Because they're only just across the way from me. You guys in America are safe, but me not necessarily so. So he's got some big work to do now from the back of the pack. Igorski in the lead, 33 seconds ahead of Dry Bones Malone. If that information is correct, I don't know what is going on with this crazy data. I'm going to quickly jump out and jump back in and see if that helps me somewhat. It looks like it may have fixed it. We'll find out now. No, it hasn't fixed it. So it's a PD problem, not a me problem. Screw you, PD. Learn how to code correctly. But Igorski is in the lead. I don't care how you've got your thing set up. I can read that. So Scarlet is not in 30th anymore. He's second. What is going on with this? I don't understand what's going on. So I can't trust what I'm reading at the moment, guys, because it told me that Scarlet was in 13th place when actually he was at the back of the pack. He told me he was back of the pack, but actually he's in second place, where I expected to see him in second place. Don't know what is going on with PD, but whatever disconnected Devlin has put a bug in the room. So Igorski in the lead, Scarlet in second, Dry Bones Malone, if my eyes are to be believe me, in third place. Stangman from Canada in fourth. Toolshed currently running in 5th place. None of these guys have pit yet. They're all on medium tyres. Other than I think everybody. It was only Scarlet and Remy that were on the soft tyres, and they're now on the mediums. So that's the other thing that's going to come into play now. Remy, not only did he get a 3-second penalty, he came out from the pits. He's in a difficult position because he's way down in, there we go, 8th place. He's on those medium tyres, which may last longer, but certainly don't have the grip of those soft tyres. And he's got faster guys around him are going to be on soft tyres. So Remy's got a lot of work to do here from 8th place. Stagman in 4th, Toolshed in 5th. Average Viper, last week's winner, up to 6th place. He's still showing Heathen in the back of his car. And I've said this already, but Heathen must be sick of the sight of the back of that Brit's car, Average Viper. Remy in 8th place, just behind Heathen. Can he make a move? As we see, a couple of pitters, Dry Bones Malone goes in, Stangman goes in. Is Remy able to make a move on any of these guys, on Heathen or Viper or Toolshed or Scarlet, before they go into the pits? That's what he's going to need to really make his race at the moment, because he was running in second. The gap to the lead is 49 seconds. He's going to have to do it on the racetrack, because he certainly won't do it through the pit stops. So the pit stop will be very costly for him. So Dry Bones Malone comes back out from the pits in front of Stagman. 7th position. Stagman just coming out of the pits now. He will be 8th. Quintus 9th. Wax will be 10th. Captain Jack, he's been in the pits. He's 21 seconds back. That will close a little bit. 39 seconds ahead of Chip Reese, who's now up to 12th place. So he's been promoted because Jake's not having a great race, and because Devlin unceremoniously thrown out by the internet into the depths of where, who knows. But that's very costly for Devlin. That was 18 championship points in his hands. He was holding those points, and he was ready to take them away with him, and no, just didn't happen. So anyone still left the pits? Igorski, he is hanging this out to the end, and there he goes into the pits. Will Scarlet follow him in? Well, he's going to have to, because they're not going to get round another lap before this window slams shut on them. So Scarlet into the pits. Toolshed will have to pit as well. Average Viper and Heathen. We're going to see a big run on the pit now. This is where we find out just where Remy comes out on the racetrack. So Igorski and Scarlet in. There is a yellow flag up ahead. Who is that for? It's going to be one of these back markers, I assume. There it is, yes. It's Chip Reese, who nearly takes out Remy there. Now, Remy is through into second. Igorski takes the lead of this race with the pit stop. There he is, out in front. If that's right, he's 12 seconds out in front as well. That was a fabulous performance from him, to just hang it out there as long as possible and get the car back into the pits and back out to take the lead of this race. So he's jumped Remy in the pit stops. Scarlet, however, has not. We can put that back on now. We've seen what everyone's doing strategy-wise. There is nothing more to learn. So he's gone for 3/4 tank of fuel. That is plenty to the end of this race with that particular pace. Devlin, despite not being in the room, is still the fastest man with a 55.4. That's not been bettered. He must be absolutely living at home right now with the internet kicking him out as it did. Remy 13.4 seconds. I don't know what that information underneath he's got. It's almost like Igorski is lost in the matrix with all that data going on. But Remy 13 seconds back from him at the moment. Is he able to close down? Now remember, Remy has already used soft tyres. He used those in the first stint. So he's now got to chase down a guy who's on soft tyres and been looking good all day, siphoning his way through the field. And the guy behind him, 10 seconds back is Scarlet at the moment, but he's on the soft tyres. We'll see just how those lap times start to tumble. We are 50 minutes in. This is lap 25. Another 20 laps to come of action here at Autopolis. And if you are just joining us, I've just seen another viewer pop up on the screen. Give you a quick recap. So Devlin was from the lead out in front and stayed there all the way to just before the pit window when the internet unceremoniously dumped him out of the room, which is why we've now got that matrix looking weird stuff all around Igorski at the top there. That promoted Remy to the lead of this race, or would have done had he not already pit and back down way down the order. So Igorski from third took the lead of this race, and since then he hasn't looked back. He went into the pits alongside Scarlet and Average Viper and Cruentes and Heathen, and they all went in at the same time. He comes out in the lead. Remy can do no better than still be second. So he's lost out, essentially, in real time. He's lost out. Scarlet is promoted up into the top three. He wants desperately to close that gap on Remy because his championship rival Igorski is currently leading this race. Dry Bones Malone looking pretty solid in 4th at the moment. No pressure at the moment from Stagman, but he does have a little bit of aero damage at the back, a little bit of suspension damage at the back. That's going to be affecting the performance of that car. Will it affect enough for a pit stop? I think we'll have to see what it does pace-wise before that decision gets made. There is Stagman looking for an opportunity, possibly to make a move on Dry Bones Malone. But Toolshed behind him will be looking also for Stagman to make a mistake. And Stagman has had his indicators on this entire race, and it's incredibly annoying. I think this is what I think the GT should do. I'm going to ask them to program something. It's probably not a good idea. I think they should program a little ticky noise. So when you've got it on, it makes a little ticky noise in your ear through your headset until you turn it off. So Toolshed running in 6th place behind Stagman, closing that gap though, so that damage might be affecting Stagman more than he would like. Average Viper 13 seconds back from Toolshed after the pit stop window. Cruentes as the fastest lap of the race now belongs to Igorski, 54.8 on those soft tyres. He's starting to kick on now. He's going to be opening that gap. So Cruentes is 3.6 seconds behind. Captain Jack up to 9th place. Heathen lost out in that pit window, finds himself all the way back in 10th place. He was staring at the back of Average Viper's car. But to be fair, after doing it for 40 odd laps last week and probably 10-15 laps this week, he's probably sick of the sight of it and he just wants to look at someone else now. Wox is behind him in 11th place. OK Jake, who we've seen spinning quite a bit, up into 12th place, and Chip Reese again at the back of the pack, and he is 4 minutes behind the leader. He's like, perspective, Chip Reese is on lap 25. Igorski, the fastest man on the racetrack, is on lap 27, and looking very racy. That gap, 20 seconds. So not only is he did he take the lead of this race, he's starting to open it up. Now, does have to be a little bit wary. It is an abrasive track. He is now on those soft tyres, but we saw how well the soft tyres held out for both Devlin and Remy in the first stint. Obviously, we didn't see how far Devlin was able to take them because of that unfortunate disconnection. But big mistake from Remy. That's going to let Scarlet get close, if not all the way through. And we do see Scarlet take second in this race. That is great news for Scarlet. He's on the soft tyres. It's going to be difficult for Remy to keep up with him. And that is going to be great for Scarlet in the championship. Current championship leader is currently 8 points clear of Igorski. So that at least negates one of the extra points Igorski was going to take out of him. So it will only be 1 point difference. So the gap will be 7 points, essentially, because Igorski will get the full 18. Scarlet will get 17 points, I think it is. Or 16 points, whatever it is anyway. There'll be a couple of points difference. Whatever the difference between Scarlet's points and Igorski's points are. I can't be expected to remember all these things. It's a lot of stuff for my little brain. And it is my second stream of the day. So Remy relegated to 3rd place. It looks like he is struggling with those medium tyres. Certainly on that lap. Now, does that bring Stagman, Toolshed, Viper, those guys into play here? They're all running soft tyres behind him. The gap at the moment to Stagman is 14 seconds. He's got Toolshed for company. Toolshed might look to make a move on him. Or are they just going to try and kick on up the road and see if they can't nick themselves a 3rd place? They must be thinking, it's certainly possible. They obviously won't know necessarily what strategy Remy was running or what tyres he's on. Unless, of course, they see that timer tumble. So Toolshed on the back of Stagman. Excuse me, just waiting for an opportunity. Let me get this coffee drunk because it's freezing bloody cold now. Average Viper, last time out winner at Daytona, down in 6th place, screeching those tyres. You do not want to be making that much squealing with your soft tyres because that will be taking rubber Very well needed rubber out of those tyres. He's 13 seconds back from Toolshed. A lot of work to do if he wants to get himself a podium this week. Correntes under some pressure from Dry Bones Malone. Correntes obviously from the UK, as you can see by that beautiful Great British flag. 9 seconds behind Average Viper they are. This is the battle for 7th place. Dry Bones Malone looking for any opportunity. Did he get a good exit? He did get a good exit. Little wobble at the back there. Up to 170, 180 mile an hour in the Supra. This is a phenomenal race car, to be fair. Phenomenal. One of the better GR4 cars. Obviously, it's never going to be as good as the Alpha 155. That is the single greatest GR4 car in the history of motorsport. Not just in the history of this game. It is a wonderful, wonderful car. But it's a good second go-to be fair. But here we go. So Dry Bones Malone hoping Quintus makes a mistake up ahead. He did go on the grass a little bit. The gap still not close enough for him to make a move. They come to the first hairpin. He's not close enough here. Can Dry Bones Malone close up in this quick sector here for an opportunity into the next hairpin? And remember, you've got to feather your throttle through here. Don't get too brave too early. Switch all the road. Goes round to the right hand side before you brake really, really hard on this right hand side for this big switchback 180. And the gap opening up. Dry Bones Malone not closing in enough to make any sort of challenge for 7th place for Correntes. 4.5 seconds back. There's Captain Jack. Plummeted through the order, but starting to get some pace back in now. He's on those soft tyres. He's got Heathen 2.7 seconds behind him. Average Viper puts in the fastest lap of the race with a 1:54.8. Heathen 4 seconds up from Watts. He is it's so far ahead that it's not even telling me what it is, but Jake is in 12th, and there's Chip Reese in last place. But the fastest man on the track, where is he? There he is, Average Viper. He's still got 14 seconds to make up on Toolshed, but putting in laps like that 1:54.8 is a bloody good start. So there is your race leader, Igorski. That's what we want to look at. At the moment, 17.5 seconds clear. Gap's come down a little bit since he put in the 54.8, but just setting into a good rhythm of mid to low 55s, which is what you want to do. You want to keep that rhythm going. Just manage that gap, manage your tyres. Just keep an eye on your fuel here. Fuel not so much of a big deal here, to be fair. You just want to keep an eye on it. Just make sure you're not overdoing it with the fuel. But there we go. Which I keep forgetting I'm wired in with my headphones, and I can only move a certain distance because they're wired in. Hang on, let me get back to where I was so I can sit back properly. There we go. So there we go. Second in on the racetrack. In the racetrack? No, definitely on the racetrack. On the racetrack is Scarlett from Ice Racing Group. He is 17.9 seconds behind Igorski. These two had a good battle moving their way through quite easily for some overtakes through the order as people were scattering far and wide. He's 11 seconds now ahead of Remy. Nothing Remy can do in terms of pace to usurp these guys ahead. He's on those medium tyres, and they just don't have the grip in the corners that those softs do. And there's a lot of corners here, a lot of tricky corners as well. So the softs are your friend. So that early pace from Remy that sent him flying off after Devlin, not necessarily helping him out at the moment. Toolshed up to 4th place. The gap to Remy is 8.4 seconds. Stagman still on the back of Toolshed and still looking for some sort of battle, some sort of opportunity to get past him. Is he relying on Toolshed to make a mistake? So Toolshed, last lap 55.8, 57.4 from Stagman, so he's starting to ramp it up. Sorry, 57.4. He's starting to ramp it up, but not that quick if he drops 2 seconds. So Toolshed up to 4th place. Stagman up to 5th place. We've lost from this race so far. We have lost DSR Devlin to what looked like a massive disconnection. It's the sort of disconnection you expect to see when the wife says, "Why are you still playing computer games? You're in your 40s and it's 1 o'clock in the morning," which she doesn't say to me because she's asleep. But you can imagine that's the sort of thing that would happen. Stagman there though, trying to close that gap on Toolshed. Average Viper, fastest man on the racetrack at the moment, 1:54.8, which he did on lap 27. We're now on lap 31. We are 1 hour, 2 minutes and 38 seconds into this 1.5 hour race. So we're 2/3 in, but we've still got half hour of racing to go. And this is where it starts to ramp up. Average Viper closing up now on OK Jake to lap him yet again. He is 13.5 seconds back from that battle for 4th between Toolshed and Stagman. Cuentes, another 12 seconds back, starting to space out quite a bit on the racetrack now. Chip Reese just holding him up a little bit. Dry Bones Malone, he is he's only 3.5 seconds behind. So opportunity there, but remember he's got that bit of damage on the back. How badly will that affect him, particularly later on into the race? There is Captain Jack. Captain Jack coming in the pits for what exactly? He doesn't need fuel and tyres. Didn't look to me that he had any damage and needed repairing. We'll have a look now and see what he's doing. Well, he's changing tyres. That's not allowed. Wonder what happens there. That's not for. That's just for me to report on, not for me to make judgment on. But this is not a pit window. That I think will result in more than just that 3-second penalty. I'm not sure what the penalty is for changing fuel and tyres outside the pit window, but I can guarantee it's definitely more than the 3 seconds you got for crossing the white line. Okay, Jake is in 11th place. 1 minute 39 seconds behind Captain Jack at the moment. Average Viper just going past him. Heathen in doing some repairs. He's down in 12th place. So he's had some big problems in this second half. Was doing really well in the first half of the race, just not working out for him in this second half here. And he's back in 12th place currently. I thought, it looks like he's repairing. Or is he sleeping? Chip Reese in 13th place. Closing all the time on Heathen. He's got a couple of laps to do that though. Has Heathen quit this race? Who knows? Frankly, who cares? Because at the moment, Igorski, gap still 18 seconds, doing a brilliant job of just managing his pace there out front. Skylay sitting comfortably at the moment in second place. The gap behind to Remy getting bigger all the time. But the gap to Igorski in front of him, not so much so. So, have they kind of settled in now? They've realised this is their place on the racetrack. We've got, well, we're on lap 33. I estimate we've got about 12 laps remaining to the end of this race. 12 big laps, 1 minute 57 laps for Remy and Scarlett and Igorski. Is Remy going to be under any pressure from Stagman? I think he might be. I'm looking at his pace. I'm looking at Stagman's pace. Stagman's got significantly more. He's currently ahead of Toolshed. Can he stay ahead of Toolshed? They've got very similar pace, these two. If I were Remy and I had the information that I've got, I'd be worried. He's got no reason to be worried at this stage because he doesn't know that those guys behind are so much. Well, he will when he starts to see that time tumbling down. But I think he should be worried. I think that initial pace out on those soft tyres and going out so balls out early on, not paying off for him. We can't find out how well it paid off for Devlin because we lost him. So Toolshed and Stagman chasing down Remy. I still think there's a battle for third to be had there. Average Viper, He's back in 6th place. He's 12 seconds off that battle. I think a little bit too far back to do anything to get involved in that. But there's a lot of laps to go, so 12 laps to go. And as these soft tyres start to wear, will we see more people off the racetrack? Dry Bones Malone, 17.8 seconds off the back of Average Viper. Certainly not troubling him there. He's got Cruentes under 2 seconds behind him, so that is going to be a concern for him. They're both running soft tyres, and we know Dry Bones Malone is carrying that little bit of damage. But it doesn't seem to be affecting his lap times that badly at the moment. Very similar times to Cruentes, although I think Cruentes has probably got the edge on him, particularly with that damage. But we'll see how that works out. If it works out, is he going to make the move right now up into turn 2? Sorry, he does. He makes that move. Cruentes ahead up into 7th place. So I'm made to eat my words. I thought Cruentes was going to slowly catch him, Monkey. No, he was Monkey now. He took Monkey. He's taking it home. He's put it in a cage. And he's up to 7th place. Dry Bones Malone drops to 8th place. Gap to Wax, 4.8 seconds. Can he do anything? Is he able to hunt down Dry Bones Malone? The Aussie looking for some points here. He's 38 seconds ahead of Captain Jack, who I feel will probably have some sort of punishment coming his way, because he went in and put on fuel and tyres when he not supposed to. OK Jake in 11th place. Chip Reese up to 12th. Heathen still in the pits. What has happened to Heathen? I'm assuming there's some sort of issue that's befallen him that means he couldn't complete. Isn't that just a rage quit without rage quitting? Each entitled to their opinion. My opinion is that you know, leaving the racetrack and rage quitting is bad, but just going and sitting in the pits and not racing is probably just as bad. It's rage quitting without actually rage quitting. But there we go. But the gap out in front for Gorski, no such problems out there for him. 20.5 seconds, getting bigger. We've got, in my estimation, about 10 laps to go. If Jason's right, we've got 12 or 13 laps to go. He thinks 47, 48. I think 45. But the pace is increasing out front, isn't it? So he could be right. I hate when other people are right and I'm wrong. But it happens more often than you'd like to think. Scarlett, 21 seconds back. I think he's going to resign himself to this 2nd place. Remy, I said he was going to be in trouble, didn't I? And he is. There is Stagman hanging on the back of him, looking for any way past. He has dropped Toolshed significantly. Toolshed's already 4.5 seconds back. But Stagman, the Canadian, looking to get himself a podium, crawling at the back of the American. Is there any way through for him? Any way? Good exit there. He's going to get a bit of slipstream on the start-finish straight, unless he makes the move beforehand. Remember, Remy is on those medium tyres. He can't fight off the power of those softs. So here comes Stagman on the back of Remy. Is the move in before they get to turn 1? Is there a move when they get to turn 1? Stagman pulls out that slipstream. I've noticed these guys don't use the slipstream as much as you'd expect. So there he is, side by side with Remy. Remy just breaks a little bit later there, but goes wide. Stagman up into 3rd place as Remy goes a little bit wide. So he was too late on those brakes, and that cost him a place. Stagman into the podium places. Remy relegates to 4th. And Toolshed now, that gap, 2.9 seconds. And I think the next overtake we're going to see is going to be Remy moving down to 5th and Toolshed moving himself up to 4th. And then the question will be, can Toolshed close the gap on Stagman and make it a photo finish for 3rd? Average Viper doing a bit of job, but I like to call it the best of the rest. Plumb in the midfield, not really making inroads into the top half of the field, the top echelons, shall we say, of the field. But he's 21 seconds clear of Correntes now. No real opportunity for Correntes to come back. There's still 10 laps to go. That's a lot of tyre to look after for the next 10 laps. We know how abrasive this track is, and it's just starting to brighten up towards the end of this race. And he's off the racetrack. That's not going to do his tyres any good at all. Walks up to 8th place, 8 seconds from the back of Correntes. Maybe looking for an opportunity later on if he can keep the pace up. Dry Bones Malone down in 9th place now. Had a reasonably good midfield start, but not been able to maintain the pressure. 45 seconds ahead of Captain Jack, but the less said the better about that. He is 45 seconds clear of OK Jake, who is ahead of Chip Reese by an entire lap. So he's just coming round to complete lap 35 as he crosses the line there. Chip Reese is still got half a lap to go before he finishes lap 34. And Heathen is in pits and giving up this race. So here we go. There is Igorski. This is lap 37. We are at Autopolis racetrack for the GT Champions. Season 4, race number 5 in Group 4. Now, this is the most exciting group, and I'll tell you why it's the most exciting group. Number 1, the lobbies are almost always pretty full. Number 2, it's a good spread of I hate to use the word average, like it's a bad thing, but they are of average pace. Average pace guys that can chuck a few laps in there. Good paced guys, shall we say. And anybody can really win. I mean, last week we saw the guy in 6th win the race from Igorski, who's currently in 1st, and Heathen, who's currently in the pits. So it's spread out all over the racetrack. That's why this is the best group. Also because you've got the dulcet tones of Pirate to soothe you through the night. There's a couple of Brits, there's quite a lot of Brits in this group actually, and the Brits is the fastest man on the track, of course, because we are very, very good at racing driving. But the main reason why it's the best group, it's because it's just where I've seen the best racing, to be honest. It's close quarters, it's fair, and it's just brilliant. Correntes leaves the room, so another disconnection. Is this the repaired stability issues that we had or were promised by PD? Although what it has done with Quentin's leaving the room, it's repaired the screen. So now I can see Igorski. There he is, Igorski from the United States of America. He is 25 seconds clear of Scarlet of Belgium. Who himself, they did a number on Remy. Remy should be leading this race, but just didn't get the pit stop and the tyre management right or anything like that in stint number 1, and kind of left himself vulnerable in stint number 2, with just being on the medium tyres and everyone around him being on the softs. As he drops through the orders, Scarlet up into 2nd place. They are currently the other way round on the championship leaderboard, so really important points for these two. Excuse me, Stangman or Stan G Man. Is it Stagman or Stan G Man? I wonder. He's 18 seconds back from Scarlet, whatever his name is. He's from Canada. It's good to see lots of different nationalities in the. Not only just on the racetrack, but all over the top 3. Remy from the United States of America. He is under pressure from the Aussie. That is Toolshed. That is half a second. Remy is on the medium tyres now. He ran those softs in stint number 1. Toolshed is on the soft tyres. But I've got to say, I think he's pushed those tyres too hard. There is still a long way to go in this race. We're only on lap 39. I'm not entirely sure Toolshed can make those tyres last to the end of this race. He's going to be in big trouble if he can't make them last. But he's putting the pressure on Remy at the moment. Average Viper currently 14 seconds back from Toolshed, looking to get a few more points. He got the maximum last week. Can he get some more? Just move up the racetrack. And I see he's a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan by the little badge on the side of his car. Let's say about that about 29 seconds is the distance between him and Wax. Wax, who has been kind of alongside sort of Dry Bones Malone and Captain Jack, kind of down that order a bit, but they've obviously benefited points wise from 2 disconnections and a soft rage quit. So Wax in 7th place. Dry Bones Malone 11 seconds back, and he's going to be a lot more further back now because there he goes across the grass. That's one way to take the corner. Not the fastest way, of course. Captain Jack in 9th place, 35 seconds behind Dry Bones Malone, and just being lapped again by Scarlet in 2nd. Okay, Jake rounds out the top 10, 43 seconds behind Captain Jack. Chip Reese in the pits. I'm assuming he's doing a repair. Didn't get to see if he put tyres on or anything, but it doesn't look like he has put tyres on because the same ones are there. So he's getting his car repaired, or is he doing a soft rage quit? Because Heathen definitely is. Heathen's been in those pits now for some time. There is your leader. 26 seconds now. Every time I flash to this guy, the gap is just bigger and bigger and bigger. Very, very dominant. And I don't think there's any coincidence in the fact that the 2 most consistent guys and the 2 that sive their way through the field early doors, Gorski and Scarlet, are now 1 and 2 in this race. Stangman benefited from some disconnections and a little bit of luck in the pit window, finds himself up in the top 3. He's now 12 seconds clear of Remy, who to all intents and purposes should have led this race, but just circumstances worked against him, not limited to starting on the soft tyres rather than the mediums. But thinking about tyre wear, a lot of people seem to manage the 2 people that had the softs, Remy and Devlin, seem to manage these softs quite well in the first stint. But this is a very abrasive track, very difficult on your tyres, and as the pace starts to increase, is Remy going to find himself coming back into this race as the tyres on the cars ahead of him start to lose their effectiveness? Now that's quite interesting because I would have 5-6 laps ago I was calling Remy out of this, just that he wouldn't have the pace. But looking at the way the tyres have developed over the race, I genuinely think we could possibly see him back in the mix. We'll find out. But Toolshed at the moment not able to do anything to crawl over the back of Remy, and he's going to be in big trouble soon. Average Viper, he is 8.7 seconds back. Again, tyres playing a factor here. We've got 10 minutes left in this race, which is 4, maybe 5 laps, depending on the pace. So tyre management now is key. And I said it. I said putting too much strain through the car early on in the stint is going to come back and bite you at the end of the stint. And it certainly was the case at Daytona last week, and it's the case here again at Autopolis. That you've got to find that balance between whacking your car, trying to get it through the order early doors, and lasting it to the end. I saw it. I did a race earlier for my own group. We did a Super Formula race, and we saw a similar thing there where people were running fuel to sort of finish the race on 1 litre of fuel. Whereas if they put a little bit more on board, it would have given them an opportunity to push and maybe gain a place or two. And I've seen it in the last couple of races for that I've streamed, that where some drivers go, I'm going to spend an extra 1.5 seconds in the pits. So when it comes to the end of the race, I've got another gear to go to. And then you see some other guys who go in, and it's, you know, they've been driving and they've been working it out to the half, to the fraction of a litre when they're driving around, exactly how much to put in fuel so they can finish on 1 litre of fuel, and then find themselves coming a cropper or losing out towards the end of the race because they find themselves in a position where they're catching the guy ahead of them, but all of a sudden they can't do anything about it because they've got to drop off the pace to conserve the fuel they've got left, or they can't defend themselves against an attack from a faster car behind. Wax in 7th place, 48 seconds back from average Viper. Captain Jack, early front runner, way back in 8th place. And OK Jake in 9th, and Dry Bones Malone going to repair his car yet again. Chip Reese is back out of the pits with a freshly repaired car, and Heathen's having a snooze. So Igorski, leader of this race, for me, never in doubt. He'd have to have a Devlin-style disconnection to not win this race today. And let's be fair, if he does have a Devlin-style disconnection, nobody's winning this race today because he's a host. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Touch wood. Touch wood. Scarlet, 27 seconds back. If he wants any hope of catching Igorski, he's going to need some kind of miracle. Because he's not... I mean, the pace is there, certainly, but not closing up enough. Average Viper, funnily enough, in 6th place. He's currently is still the fastest man on track. Stagman in 3rd place. 20 seconds clear of Remy in 4th. 15 seconds back from Devlin. So we've got United States from Belgium, Canada, United States, Great Britain, Australia, the UK. There is Remy's 8.1 clear of Viper. Viper now up to 5th. Toolshed down into 6th. He's got to look after those tyres now. Now, the car behind him is 56 seconds back. He's got to do 3 laps with some ropey looking tyres, to be fair. Ropey. 56 seconds back is Wax. Wax might be in for a bit of a surprise as he comes up the racetrack. Toolshed goes into the pits. Now, I'm assuming that there hasn't been a new rule about emergency tyres that I don't know about, that if you really are going to crash, you can put some tyres on. But he didn't put tyres on, he just went in the pits. And then stopped at the end of the pit lane. He stopped at the end of the pit lane. He's now back on the racetrack. What is Toolshed playing at? That's going to yellow flag that part of the racetrack. And he's going to keep resetting there. So, I think he's trying to... He's trying to make the clock run down. That's what he wants to do. He wants to run the clock down, finish the race here. But he doesn't realise he's already lost out to Wax. So Wax is already through. Captain Jack is going to catch him up eventually. As will OK Jake. Dry Bones Malone is repairing his car again. Chip Reese will probably catch him as well. The only person that's going to finish behind is going to be Heathen, who soft quit. Tell you what, you haven't got to worry about this guy here. Igorski's getting this job done, and he's getting it done faster and faster every single lap. We're on lap 44. We are actually going to be close to Jason's estimation of 47 to 48 laps. Just this additional pace there. So he's going to finish this lap, which will be lap 44. He will start lap 45, and then I think lap 46 will be the end of this race. So, big job. If Scarlet wants to nick this place, he's got a lot of work to do. I think it's a job too far. 30 seconds back. He's 13 clear of Stagman. Stagman 25 clear of Remy. Remy, who should be out in the, at least in the top 3, finds himself just outside those top 3. 5 seconds clear of Average Viper. But Average Viper is looking pretty racy in the final stages of this race. But is he going to have a similar problem with keeping the car on the road? As we watch OK Jake unlapping himself there. So essentially this is what we have for the 2 strategies. You had a choice of starting with the softs, running those softs to the pit window, then finishing on medium tyres, knowing that the medium tyres are going to be a lot grippier for a lot longer, but slower. And then you got the other lot, which start on the mediums, be slower, move down the order a little bit, and be racy later on the softs. The problem is you've got to manage the softs so much better, and some people have, and some people have not. And it's going to be a telling factor in this race as to where people finish because of their either ability to look after tires or lack thereof, should we say. Igorski, 32 seconds clear. Never in doubt for me. Once he got to the lead, he was always going to stay there. Scarlet, very, very good job in second. The gap's 11 seconds. Stagman's put it in a charge, but I don't think he's certainly not close enough to do anything now, and there's not enough time left in this race for anything to happen. Remy in 4th place. Average Viper, he's got a yellow flag up ahead. That's going to be for a back marker somewhere. Chip Reese, that's what it's for. Chip Reese, by the looks of it. Average Viper 10 seconds behind Remy. Don't know he's going to have the pace to close that gap at this stage of the race. Wox 52 seconds back. I think that's where we're going to see him finish this race. Captain Jack just being lapped there by Stagman, who's on a crazy charge. Half-second penalty. Not really going to affect him anyway. He's in a bit of no man's land. He hasn't got a car within several corners of him that is still on the same lap as him. OK Jake, we've seen him lap several times as well. He's 36 seconds back. And then Toolshed, well, that's a race quit if I ever saw one. As Wox comes through. So Wox was, at one stage, 50 seconds behind Toolshed. He's now lapping him. Drybones Malone, still in the pits. So Drybones Malone, it looks to me that he's run out of fuel and he's had to quit the race as well. This is a minefield. So, we started with almost a full lobby. We had 14 cars start this race. And Stagman, that's the end of the race for him. He crossed the line in 3rd. So here we go. There is your race leader on lap 46. And we're going to see him come home and take the crown. Stagman takes 3rd spot, but a lap back. He only finished on lap 45, yeah. So here we go, Igorski. Here he comes. I should have watched the timer there. I was too busy looking at those guys. But here comes Igorski to win this race. He's got 5 or 6 more corners and it's all over. OK, Jake finishes. Captain Jack's finished. Remy finished in 4th. Average Viper looks like he's going to come home in 5th place, with Wox coming home in 6th. We'll have a little chat. I will give my opinion on rage quitting at the end. I'm going to have my little moan about it and then we'll move on. But here we go. Igorski, he rounds the final corner. Never in doubt since he took the lead of this race. Has looked strong from the moment he set his arse down in that car. Bang! 1st place. Thank you very much. Yippee-ki-yay. Igorski is your winner. Scarlet coming through. He's got a couple of corners left. Also solid performance from him. Great performance as well from Stagman in 3rd place to make his way through the field like that. But here comes Scarlet. He rounds these final 2 bends. He's going to come home 2nd place. Thoroughly deserved. Here he comes. DSR Scale crosses the line in second place. That, my friends, is your the order. That is Igorski from Scale, from Stangman, Remy 22, Average Viper, Wox, Captain Jack, OK Jake, and Chip Reese. Nobody else has finished this race. Toolshed has not finished. Dry Bones Malone's not finished. Heathen not finished. Devlin disconnected. Cruentus disconnected. So we finished this race actually with 1, 2, 3, 5 cars. 5 cars didn't finish out of the 14 that started. But that's it. We're done. Another 90 minutes of racing. And there is your champion. Let's take everything off the screen and give him the glory he deserves. There he is, your winner this evening. RWB Igorski. And it was never in doubt when he took the lead around the pit window. And from that point onwards, he was always going to win this race. So congratulations to Igorski, your number 1. Scale, number 2. And Stangman, who finishes in 3rd place. Brilliant performance all round. Congratulations to the podium. And yeah, well done to everybody else as well for your performance today. So, there we go. All done. Let me put this, let me hide that. There we go, look. So basically, it was quite an interesting race, wasn't it? Because we had those two sort of different schools. We had the soft runners and the medium runners in different stints, and it played out very differently. And actually, didn't go so well for some of them. But we're going to have a chat with the top 3 if we can get them, of course. And as you guys know, I'm absolutely rubbish. I'm rubbish at the production side of things. Don't tell anyone. I'm trying to get better. So I am going to disappear off the mic for a minute while I get hold of the top 3 and see if we can get some interviews going and a little bit of a chatty. I'll catch up with you soon. just get the guys together for interviews. But there's your top three: Igorski, Scarlet, and Stagman. Great thoughts from all three of them. We'll get them and have a little chat with them as soon as they are ready. Okay, we are now live with two of the top three. I haven't seen Scarlet jump in yet, but I know his English isn't brilliant, so he might be avoiding us for that. But we have with us Stagman and Igorski, first and third. How about that then? We'll go to you first, Stagman. Did you think when you were, I think it was way down in 9th or 10th place early on in the race, you were going to get anywhere near the top three today?
Well, I actually got down to 12th, and I just, put your head down and keep going, right? You never give up because other people can make mistakes and you can capitalize on them. And it was just a good night for me.
Absolutely. It just seemed to fall in place for you. Just, you didn't actually have to do much overtaking yourself. It's kind of just like the people in front of you just kind of disappeared off out your way and they kind of let you just move your way up the order almost.
Yeah. It was good for me.
Yeah. How did you find it on the tyres? Because you guys were both on. You both went for the mediums in the first stint, didn't you? And then the softs for the second half. How did you find managing the softs at the end of that race?
The softs, they wear out real quick, so you just try and be consistent with your braking points and your turn ends. And I didn't have much tires left by the time the race was over, but all in all, it was a good night.
Wasn't
same here, but it worked out really well. Starting on the mediums and trying to push them as far as you could get them to that 40-second or to that 40-minute mark, and I figured there was going to be a little bit of tire saving, but I was surprised how fast it started to wear out. It seemed like at 10 minutes I was like, oh man, this is going to be a rough 10 minutes to get this thing finished.
They really did look like they kind of fell off a cliff really quickly. That they seemed to hold out. The weird thing was I was watching the sort of tyre deg with Devlin, who we lost to a disconnection, and Remy, because they both started on those soft tyres, and the deg in the first sort of stint for them, it didn't really have that much effect, and it looked to me, from what I could see, it looked like the soft tyres were going to just run in stint 2, but it's almost like that the more rubbered in the track got, the more abrasive it became on the tyres.
Yeah, I could definitely tell that when I was in third and Remy was, I think, about 17 seconds ahead of me. About 5 minutes left till pit. I started catching him a lot, so I figured his tires were dying off.
Yeah, they really have. I've noticed particularly, I don't know how much you guys play GT Sport, but from sort of GT Sport to GT7, you can take the tyres a lot longer on GT7, I've noticed. You can almost take them till there's no white left before they start to go off. Except for here, for some reason.
Yeah, tire wear was definitely, I think, the biggest problem today. When I pitted, I was going to just take 80% fuel, and I thought, better take 90 just to be on the safe side. And I ended up with, I think, 13% left, so I could have gone with the 80, but might have made it a little faster. I could have maybe caught Scully at the end, but he was just too far ahead.
Well, I think both Igorski and Sky, you both charged for the early doors. You were just straight like a whip it out of the traps, carving your way through as many cars as possible, and just kind of putting yourself in that position, just behind the sort of front runners to really capitalise. And I think Remy lost out. I think Remy should have been in the top three sort of earlier on, and certainly should have taken the lead when Devlin got disconnected, but he picked up a penalty going into the pits, and that 30-second penalty put him out of that contention, and by that stage, so excuse me, makes it very difficult then to sort of come back, especially when everyone around you's on the soft tyres.
Yeah.
But it looks interesting for the championship now, doesn't it? Because there was 8 points between you and Scarlet going into this. And now he's behind you, so the gap is closing.
It is closing, and then also me and Average Viper actually tied for the fastest lap.
Was it tied? I didn't notice that.
It was tied.
That's pretty
At a 1:54.894 for both of us.
Oh, awesome. So you I was Heathen got fastest lap last time, wasn't it? That's twice now in 2 streams you've been in the top 3. We're going to see you again next week.
Yeah, let's hope. I just got to keep ahead of Scal, and I'll be good.
Yeah, you got to try.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you guys. Hopefully we'll catch up again next week. And look for where are we next week? We're in
Catalunya.
Yeah,
Catalunya.
Looking forward to that.
In the BMW.
Love that track. Love that. Yeah, so thanks very much, guys. What a race that was. We move on to next week.
All right.
Cheers, guys.
Hope I see you again
See you next week.
See you too. So there we have it. There were the top 3: Igorski, Scarly, and Stagman. The top 3 in the race today. I did say before I go, we'd have a little chat about rage quitting. Look, I don't know what the GT Champions policy is on it. I'm quite outspoken on the subject, so I think it's a bit of a shitty thing to do, to be fair. You've got... If you look at some of the guys that finished this race at the back of the pack, that you carried on going every single lap and did all 45 laps or 43 laps or whatever it is they did, pretty much in last place for the entire race and made it to the end. It's a bit disrespectful to you're not having a great race. It's disrespectful to them saying, I can't be bothered if I can't win. So that's just my feeling. There were a couple of others that sort of bowed out because they ran out of fuel, they were running low on tyres and what have you. That's not necessarily a rage quit, but still a little bit rubbish. But there we go. It is what it is. We move on. There was one incident which I think I'm sure they'll look at with there was a tyre replacement incident outside the pit window, but I'm sure that will get picked up on by the powers that be. But you've got to feel for Devlin today. He was the fastest man out on that track until the moment that his internet gave out. It's going to cost him lots and lots and lots of valuable points. But his loss is Igorski's gain. There's another podium. That's 2 podiums in 2 weeks for him. And the gap to Scarlet is closing. So next week we are in the BMW M4. We are at Barcelona, Catalunya. What a racetrack that is. Cannot wait. It's been a beautiful experience, people. So I've been Urban Pirate. This has been GT Champions World Cup Season 4, Round 5, Group 4, which is the best group out of all of them. You know it is. This is where the action is to be had. I will see you all again next week. But feel free to come and join me on Black Flag Racing TV if you've got nothing else to do. Thank you very much for your time. See you again.